trauma.
God is in fire.
You're never alone.
Okay, my friends, welcome to another episode of ChristianPodcast.com. My name is Beto. I'm here with my wife, Millie, and our friend, Brent, from the movie I Can Only Imagine 2. He's the director, and he's got a background in, a lot of good movies that you've watched in the past. This is a dream come true for us because we've been saying again and again that a revival is happening, and part of the revival is happening through media. So to be able to talk to you, Brent, is a dream come true because we feel like you are part of the revival and you're part of the shooting the movie about the revival, right? The Jesus Revolution. But today we're here to talk about I Can Only Imagine a DOS. So Brent, welcome to the show. How you doing?
It's good to be here. I didn't realize you guys were married. That's so cool. What's it like podcasting together as a couple? That's really cool.
Oh man,
It's pretty funny, because we do life and we do ministry. We do everything together. We work together. And I think the one reason why I married him, it's because I was not bored. I was like, oh my gosh, I can live with this guy and I can work with this guy. So since we were dating, we were working together. Mm-hmm. So we do everything together. We share
you said
everything.
I could be with this guy and not be bored?
Yes.
Is that what you said? That's beautiful. That's really cool.
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel like in the past with my ex-boyfriends, like, I just need a break, go away. And this time with him was different. I just want to be with you 100%.
For the rest of your life, maybe?
Yeah, so I think it's you.
That's great. That's amazing. Oh, well, congrats on that. And finding that groove together. That's rare and it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, if you go back to some of our early episodes, especially in Spanish, because that's when we really started doing it together, man, it was almost like therapy. We were like bringing all these topics live, like financial topics, sex topic, like all of the above live. And we're like, okay.
Can you hear that, what she's saying? We need to apply that. So, yeah.
So it's been a journey for sure, man.
Beautiful.
So... yeah, what's it like? What's I Can Only Imagine 2 about? I have, in a little bit, I'm going to go like through some of the lyrics of Even If, which I know that the movie is based on, the song by MercyMe. But from your vantage point, why are you excited about this film and what can people expect?
Yeah, it's a funny story how this movie got going because... everybody walked away from Imagine, the original, so happy with it, and it did so well, and we really thought that book was closed. And one of the producers that helped us do the first movie, her name is Cindy Bond, she actually believed there was a second movie after some stuff that happened with Bart and, them writing Even If. And she hounded me and Bart to get together and talk about this story for a long time, but nobody believed her. And so finally... she asked me and Bart enough times where we called each other. We're like, all right, let's sit down together and let's listen to, let's do the thing so we can go back to her and say, sorry, Cindy, but there's nothing here. Well, when we sat down, of course, the opposite happened. And Bart starts telling me all this amazing stuff that happened to him in his life. And I was dumbfounded. But in that first meeting, I was like, whoa, there's a movie here. I can't believe it. There's a movie here. And so we all got really excited. And I walked back to the studio that did Jesus Revolution with me. They're called Kingdom Studios in Tennessee, and pitched to them. They immediately loved it. Then we pitched to Lionsgate, and they actually, this never happens, but they stopped the pitch. We were pitching and they stopped us. They said, number one, we hear you and we're doing this movie. You may continue, so they stopped the pitch, to tell us they were going to do it with us. So that was so amazing. I think what was surprising about this movie is it actually goes deeper. It goes deeper thematically. It goes deeper spiritually. And it's this beautiful turning upside down of the first movie. So we advance forward in time, and Bart is now a father, and he's having some relational issues with his son. And he's trying so hard, but he just can't connect. And it really is like the cry of a father. I think when you're a dad, I have 5 kids of my own, and I think when you're a dad, at some point, you are going to feel like a total failure. And you're going to struggle with failure as a father. I think if you're trying to do it right, because there's always places to grow and places to heal and wounds to tend to in your own heart, your own child's heart inside of you. And so you get to see a dad really, really fighting and struggling to connect with his son. And so to see that flipped over and see Bart now as the dad who's having trouble relating to his kid, it's really powerful. And there's lots of other themes happening. There's a new character that we introduced. His name is Tim Timmons. And in real life, he's best friends with Bart. And Tim carries just a beautiful spiritual mantle on him where he's learned, and in the West, we don't know how to do this, but he's learned how to hold the tension of this life. So he's learned how to hold, yes, life is hard, but the goodness of God. Or, yes, I'm in grief right now, but there's beauty and there's joy. And he's learned how to hold these things together. And when you get around him, it starts teaching you, like teaching you how to do it a little bit better. So this movie's really expanded my heart. I feel like in writing this and directing it and working with these guys and looking inside myself, I feel like the human heart has this, with God's help, has this ability to expand, to hold more of this experience. And if we're honest with ourselves, there's tension here in our experience. There's grief, there's loss, there's sadness, there's sorrow, but there's also beauty and compassion and love and empathy and peace. And so when you're going through those hard things, I think it's a beautiful reminder that you also have access to all of the good things at the same time, even though it doesn't feel like it. And so I think that's the spiritual element of this that excites me the most. And I think it's a really important message right now, because there's so many people living in fear, and there's a lot of people right now that feel like the entire world is burning. And if you look at the world a certain way, it is. But that's not all that's happening. And so even people who are Christian or religious, if you get into just fear and watching the news and politics, all that stuff, you can really lose your footing. You can really lose your footing in this thing. And Jesus didn't say, my happiness I give to you, my politics I give to you, my Western world capitalism, what are all these things? He said, my peace I give to you. And so I think if we're really going to try to walk out the path of Christ, I think we need to really take a look at, are we beings of peace? Are we trying to bring the peace of God forward into this reality? And if we're not, I think we have to start asking ourselves some tough questions about where our spiritual practices and our beliefs are actually taking us. Because we live in really fearful times. So wouldn't it be beautiful if the Christian community rose up and said, yeah, these are tough times, but there's peace. And there's actually a peace that passes all understanding. There's a peace that lives above and permeates every situation that, however terrible it is that we find ourselves in, it surpasses that. It surpasses everything that you could look at, experience, and see in this world. And that's available to us. But I think, me included, talking to myself, the news cycle gets us, the news cycle gets us. And so yeah, but there's a different way of being and walking that Jesus showed us. And so I'm trying to get back to that in my own life. And I think this movie calls that out and points in that direction. I think it's a really cool time for this to be coming out, because it's also a very hopeful movie. It's a movie that has a lot of hope in it, even though there are dark times in the movie. And you could look at a lot of the stories in the Bible. One of my favorite ones is Jesus asleep in the boat. He's asleep, totally tranced out, just sleeping. There's a giant storm's going to kill everybody. He's just sleeping through it, So there's this peace that you can get to that's available to you.
That's good.
And it's not hard. It's not that it's easy to get to or not hard fought. If you look at what Christ did, he disappeared for weeks and months, the stillness and being with, being in the silence of God, and you have to really commit, I think, but it is there. And Tim has that, he wouldn't call himself like a mentor or a prophetic guy or whatever, but he carries that. He just carries a deeper teaching that most people don't have access to. So when you get around him, you're like, how are you doing this? And so yeah, it's great. He has this beautiful practice where he takes a Sharpie every morning, and he puts an X on his wrist. And that is him thanking God for another day that he wasn't promised, that he just got to wake up. And so his gratitude practice, he was practicing gratitude before it got popular and they started doing gratitude journals and all that stuff. Like, he was way ahead of the curve. And I think it really is a teaching that we need. When I was doing research on this movie, one of the things I tripped on was there are 1 trillion biomolecular processes that have to occur in your body every night just for you to wake up.
Wow.
And we don't stop. We just get up in the morning and we take our shower and we brush our teeth and we're grumbly about going into work. It's like, man, it's a miracle. Like, it's a miracle, like what we're in. And so yeah, the gratitude of Tim and his teachings have really been infusing my life. And so yeah, I would say those are the big things that have really spoken to me personally as the filmmaker working on it, because whenever I'm trying to work, I'm trying to go deeper spiritually. So I'll U-turn all this stuff on myself and be like, okay, what are you struggling with? And then you could write in from that struggle, and then it makes it more relatable. So all the stuff that's in the movie is stuff I'm contending with and trying to, incorporate deeper into my spiritual practices as well. So,
wow. Oof, man, that's deep. And yes, without spoilers, when we came out of the pre-screening of the movie, we had a Sharpie, and I put a cross in the middle of my forehead, and I came to the guy that was showing us the movie, and I told him, I didn't like this movie, man. I loved it. And he's like, what's going on with this guy? He's all marked.
Beto, you know that it's a Sharpie, right? It's going to take time to take off.
Took a while to take off, but people will know what's going on when they watch the movie.
That was gutsy. How long did it take to come off of your head?
I don't remember, man. I think I showered that night and then the night before, and that took it. So probably like a couple days. Not too bad.
That's so great. I have a really cool story about how I met Tim. I was at a writer's retreat. We both lived in Nashville. We did not know each other. We both got invited to a writer's retreat, songwriting retreat. And our church put it on. And there was this guy sitting at a table, like talking to people. And I just went up and introduced myself. And I noticed he had an X on his wrist. And he noticed that I had one on mine.
Oh, wow.
And mine's a tattoo. And it was the first tattoo I ever got. And so when he clocked it, he was like, why do you have an X on your wrist? And I was like, I don't know. Why do you? And so we both told each other the story of our tattoos. And his was a lot more interesting. And then, to find out that it wasn't a tattoo, it was something that he was putting on his wrist every morning as a gratitude practice. I was shook. I was moved. So to feel it come around full circle and to get to tell Tim's story and bring that moment to the world, I don't know. It's really, it's pretty amazing to be in this, and it feels really guided. And so yeah, I'm excited about it. But yeah, that was my first ever conversation with Tim. Wow. Almost 10 years ago, and I noticed his ex, and he was doing it back then. So
that's cool. Okay, so I want to read a little bit of the lyrics of Even If, and then you can stop me wherever you feel like something popped. But there's a lot of themes here that are super powerful. But before that, I want to give just a little bit of context how MercyMe has impacted me in my life. And then, Millie, I just want you to keep in mind, because Millie's so good at just like maybe finding like the cultural, practical avenue for the conversation. Because we're Latinos. So I don't know, Millie, maybe as we're saying all this, maybe think about, your background or your cultural background and how that impacts like on the practicality of how we live.
Okay, pass me the Kleenex.
The Kleenex are here. You're going to need those. If you watch the movie, you're going to need those. So bring your Kleenex to the movie theater. And so here is Even If. And this is a song. So this is not I Can Only Imagine, right? Which was the big hit by MercyMe. And what I wanted to say is that MercyMe, I started listening to them when I still lived in Mexico as a teen. I grew up in Mexico until my 20s. Wow. And man, this song, I Can Only Imagine, and in general, MercyMe and Christian music have impacted my life deeply. right? So all that to say, for some people, even like a song that's in English, right? Touching a Mexican kid because of its lyrics, that's a little bit unheard of. You know, I know Christian music is big, but it's not as big as other genres, especially around the world. But I just want to say it has been impactful in my life. And the lyrics of Even If, it's kind of like that theme that you were talking about as a father, that sometimes you feel like you failed. So let's see how this starts, okay? So the song starts with, they say sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. And right now, I'm losing bad. I've stood on this stage night after night, reminding the broken it'll be all right. But right now, I just can't. It's easy to sing, but when there's nothing to bring me down, but what will I say when I'm held to the flame? Like I am right now. I know you're able. I know you can. Talking about like God and Jesus, right? Saved through the fire with you mighty hand. Or with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, I mean, this is the power right here, right? Even if you don't, my hope is in you alone. They say, this part just moved me, okay? They say it only takes a little faith to move a mountain. Good thing, a little faith is all I have right now. Wow, I mean, those are deep, deep, powerful words. But God, when you choose to leave mountains unmovable, oh, give me the strength to be able to sing, it is well with my soul. I know you're able. I know you can save through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is in you alone. Jesus, I cling to you, come what may, because I know you're able. I know you can. Wow. And then it ends with a famous hymn, right? It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. And I mean, this moves, right? And the part where it says, like Jesus invited us to have even little faith to move a mountain. You can't see right now, but outside our window here, there's a mountain that's over 10,000 feet with snow.
So gorgeous.
It's so amazing. And awesome. And Jesus is saying, if you have this much faith, you can move a mountain. And the song is recognizing that sometimes that's all we have. I mean, just a little bit of faith. And I think, I don't know, I mean, I feel like we can relate to that as humans, maybe even as Latino, as immigrants. I mean, there's a lot to where we could speak about this. But yeah, Brent, like, the invitation, like maybe what moved you about this story, and when you maybe read these lyrics or when you found out about the story, like what are you trying to capture that you're going to translate into a visual, a movie, a production that it's not just about what's shown, right? It's about how it's going to move, impact souls. So what about these lyrics move you in a way that make you want to write a script?
Oh man, wow. It's so deep. So many things I could talk about. I think where I'm trying to get in my own life is I think I'm starting to believe this more and more, but it really goes back to that Footprints poem where there were two sets of footprints, and the guy realized, you know, when he was doing his life review at the end when he died, and he looked back over his entire life and saw God walking with him. But when his life got really hard, there was only one set of footprints, and he's like, "Why did you abandon me?" And he's like, I didn't. That set of footprints is me holding you and carrying you. And I think we easily lose track of being held and being safe and still being with God when the hard stuff hits. It throws us into this, like, you know, emotional, psychological blender. And I think we lose our tether. We lose that sense of God holding us and God being with us and never being alone, you know, being in touch with that always. And so that's really what Bart's song is about. You know, what will I say when I'm held to the flame like I am right now? Like when these unpleasant things happen to us, I really think, like, at the depths of me, when I'm really, really down and out and I'm kind of on my hands and knees or in the ditch or spun out, like that's probably a better representation of where my faith is, my real faith is. And that's hard to hear. That's hard for me to say to myself, but that's going to be a better diagnostic or barometer of like where you're actually choosing to place your faith than when everything's going good. You know, and it's human nature too. It's like when 9/11 happened, all the churches got flooded. You know, it's like, oh man, I need to feel this. I need some comfort. I need to get back to something. And so the game I think the song is trying to play and that I'm trying to play is, well, whatever happens or doesn't, you are my constant. You are my sunshine. I wrote a little kid's book when years ago. And I still do love kind of the theme of it, but it was about this little baby bird that would get mad when the storms would come because he loved the sun. Like, he would dance and like love the sun, but the storms would come and block the sun out. And he would get mad. He's like, why does God let these storms take the sun away? And the mom tells the baby bird, like, you have to see it to know what I'm talking about, but you have to actually fly up through those storms. And if you keep going, you're going to see something really cool. And of course, the little bird flew up through the storms and felt like she almost got killed. And, you know, when she punched through and saw that the sun was still there, and it changed her life. And then she came back down to earth, and she would dance. When the rain would come, she would just dance in the rain because she knew the sun was still there. And so I think there's that version of this song too, where I think in the West, especially, we need a good outcome. If I get the job promotion, if my kid does great in school, or if my kid doesn't go to jail for this crime they committed, God is with me. Well, the harder teaching is God's with you in all of it. And actually, God is constant. And the love and the peace and everything doesn't change. What changes is your relationship to the outcome. And I think a lot of times, man, in the West especially, it's like God is kind of like Santa Claus or a slot machine. Like you need that outcome. You need to hit the jackpot, and then you know God loves you or God's watching over you. And I just don't see it that way. I think to be here in this reality, you're guaranteed a number of things. You're guaranteed suffering. You're guaranteed grief and loss and beauty and peace and empathy and compassion. It's like you're guaranteed a lot of things that you will experience. You're also guaranteed. It's also guaranteed that you will die. You know. So I'm trying to glide with that and realize and really my true north that I want. And I think this song is so powerful because of this, because, you know, like and I can only imagine, I had several friends like, well, I heard this song, I watched the movie, and me and my dad talked and we started repairing our relationship. And that was beautiful, beautiful. But in this movie, it's more of like, hey, I lost my mom to cancer and this song got me through. It's like, God's love and God being with us is constant, even when you don't get the outcome that you're praying for. And that's why I think it's the power of the song. Because even if what we're praying for doesn't happen, that doesn't negate the hope that we have in God, in our Creator. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I always tell my kids that being thankful is the key of heavens. And is the true key of happiness. So like years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I wake up with $20 for the whole week. We're having a hard time. And I wake up with this hope. And I told the devil, you know what? I'm done with you. Even if it's only $20, I'm so thankful because I have a roof. I went and pick up my kids. Okay, we live like 5 minutes from Newport Beach. So we live in a beautiful bubble, okay? So I grabbed my kids from school. In that time, we're all in the same elementary school. So I picked them up and I brought them to the beach. And I told my kids, look at this. Look at where we live. Our front yard is the beach. And our backyard is Canyon Park. What a beautiful place to live. This is ours. And look, God's creation. I told them, I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray and we're going to give thanks to God. And you know what? I told my kids, I'm not going to close my eyes. I just want to enjoy this beauty. So we were on the pier, Newport Beach Pier. And the sky was dark blue. It was like around 3 p.m., but it was dark blue. And I start praying, giving thank you, Lord. You are everything I need. I'm so blessed. Look at my kids are healthy. My husband, you're so good to us. Brent, the sky opened up exactly where we were, like a hole. It's so emotional. Open up and bring this light. And I started screaming and crying. And I'm telling my kids, look at this. God is so real. He's here with us. Look around. Where is the light right now? And my kids, with us, God is here. God is present. God is listening to me. So I experienced so many miracles in my life. I'm a survivor. I always tell people, because they ask me, so are you Christian? And I just told them, I love Jesus Christ and I'm a servant. It's my life, And as a follower of Christian, we are called to be peacemakers, not to look for peace where we at. We are the peacemakers.
That's good.
That's a gift that we receive from the Holy Spirit. And that's our call. And I always tell, we need to love each other. Let's bring the immigrant to the table. Let's bring the ICE to the table. Let's bring the president to the table. Let's try to make peace. It's not impossible if you have the Holy Spirit. And I'm so thankful that God is building our platform to be a peacemakers in this world. And your movie, Beto was crying and crying. He never cries. I'm the crier, right? But what a beautiful message about parenting. It's not easy, especially when your background, I grew up in dysfunctional family and Beto too. So it's been hard for us, to work together and create this atmosphere that we live now, where God is in the middle, is still sometimes hard times, right? Because we learn to be a parent, we learn to be a wife or a husband, and it's always drama. Thanks God, we have Jesus. I can imagine without His help. Right? But during the process, we heal a lot of our past trauma. I never knew they had so many triggers. What is this? Ugh.
Yep.
But then I learned and I changed. It's here when God, through this mess, through this ashes, through this loss, where God transformed my heart. And I grew for Him to continue working for His kingdom. So it's a huge pleasure to have this conversation and know that God told me something super important this morning. He told me that your ministry and my ministry, it's you're not better and I'm not better. In God's kingdom, we are equal. In God's kingdom, even if my ministry is super small, matters. Right? And if yours is huge, matters. And we don't need to compare with one another. We just need to compare with Jesus, right? Who He is and how He's acting, so I can be like Him. So much beauty in what God is building nowadays. It's gorgeous. And I have the opportunity to live it. So excited.
Oh, well, I'm just gonna let you talk. I'm gonna let you talk for the rest of the time. That was incredible. I'm so filled up. I take that with me. I think you're right. I think also in the West, we do get we get so obsessed with our own comfort, and that becomes the main thing. Where, like, I like what you said. Like, there's a difference between finding peace and being a peacemaker. When it becomes active, and it's coming out of you. You know, you got to a place where you're like, actually, I have enough peace. I'm a peace generator. You know, like I can generate this, and I can actually become a peacemaker as I walk the planet, and I can help people. I can help bring this into other people's lives because it's now flowing out of me. And so I love the idea of like just someone who's searching for peace versus someone who's actually become a peacemaker. That's incredible.
That's who we are.
I love it. I have a quick question. Would you guys take 3 or 4 minutes and just explain to me like your immigrant's journey and just can you just tell me something about it? I'm just really curious to know about it and like what that experience has been like for you guys. And I just want to be like a loving witness to it. If we can. Do you have like a 5-minute version of that or something? Just being in the middle of what you guys are in right now. And this could be hard. I mean, obviously the truth can be hard sometimes, but is there any like a couple pieces of loving truth you would speak to our country right now, to this system as it pertains to immigration and ICE and just the crackdowns on it? I mean, is there anything like, is there like a loving truth, or is there something you see from your vantage point that you wish other people could see maybe?
To me, it's clear Jesus is the way. Like he's not a way, and he's not. I mean, I love what Jelly Roll said on the Grammys, right? Like no party owns Jesus. Jesus is his own political party. He belongs to the party of the kingdom of God. And Jesus is God's candidate, right? So he's my beloved son in whom I'm pleased. So this is the candidate God chose and sent to earth to say, hey, whoever believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. So when I look at what's going on with like ICE and stuff, I feel, in a sense, I'm excited because I feel like the Bible is coming more alive. Like the intricacies of the followers of Jesus that they were living under, like the pressure of the moment, of their political moment, it's becoming more evident now, right? Where, like, I was explaining to some, like a comment on YouTube, who say, why do you guys validate what ICE is doing? And I said, I'm not validating. I mean, they're doing their job, just like Roman soldiers were doing their job. And the only person that could wake anybody's conscience is Jesus. And when Jesus was on the cross, even a Roman officer looked at him and he said, surely this man is the Son of God. So he woke up in that moment and he realized, wow, this guy is the way. So much so that later on you have Peter having a vision when he's on the rooftop. And when he has this vision, it's like God is saying, eat from this food. And it's like, well, I can't eat that because that's unclean. And God says, don't call anything unclean that I haven't called unclean, referring to the Gentiles. Only for like a couple minutes later, a Roman centurion shows up in his house and it's like, hey, I heard you have a message for me. And he didn't really have a message, but in that moment, the Holy Spirit revealed to him, okay, you're supposed to give a message to this guy right now. And I can only imagine, the moment a Jewish fisherman encounters his version of ICE knocking at the door.
Like, panicking.
And saying, okay, this guy, like God sent him here to learn about Jesus. And he opens the door and he's like, let me tell you about who this guy is. And what's interesting is that it says that this Roman officer, Cornelius, he was a devout follower of God. And I think there's a difference between being a devout follower of God. I think that's good, but there's a difference between being a devout follower of God and being a follower of Jesus, right? One can lead to Jesus. So I think there's hope when I look at what's going on. It's like, oh wow, it makes me understand the Bible like even more clearly. Like the stuff they went through was real, It wasn't like, oh, okay, here are the Gentiles now celebrating with the Jews. It was hard for them to come to conclusions and to say, how are we going to follow Jesus faithfully when we have so much like different opinions on like theology and who Jesus is and what is this supposed to mean? So,
and Jesus is for everybody. Okay, Jesus is for everybody, and I feel like now Christians, nationalists, they're blind, so blind that they're acting like the Pharisees, big time. But guess what? God is building his kingdom. God is building his church. He doesn't need us. I have a dear friend that I was just having a conversation with her. She shared her testimony with me like 3 years ago. And it's like, Millie, when I met her, right? I spent like more than an hour talking to her. And she's like, I was dying. Skinny bones, walking in the streets of Costa Mesa. I just want to be dead. And this homeless girl reached out to me. 3 hours I was talking with her. And she asked me do you want to receive Jesus in your heart? You can do it right now. And she was having encounters with God through homeless people in the streets. That's the worst of the worst. We see the homeless and we like, like we josh. Like, you are there for a reason. You're a sinner. It's so easy for us. But that's how God works. Right? And now she comes to me and she have now this experience in different churches, and she works for a preschool for a church, and she moved to another one because they're like, Millie, they don't pay me enough. They're giving me a part-time. I'm a divorced single mother with 3 kids, and I'm not making it. And I asked them to give me 2 more hours because, with the part-time job, I can survive. And they didn't give me money to buy the material for my kids. And I'm talking about a Newport Beach, well-known church, huge. They have a lot of money. Actually, they're raising like $20,000 to do a little...
20 million.
20 millions to do a little remodeling. And I see the church, they go, oh my goodness, it's beautiful. What are they going to do with that money? But they're treating their people. And she went and talked to the pastor, and she's like, I'm in need. I need you. You're the pastor. I can come to you because, And he's like, you need to do what you need to do. And she's like, what are you telling me? I'm practical, If you're not comfortable here, if it's with you can look somewhere. You can look somewhere else. Like, Salima, I'm so sorry. This is not. That's what happened with money and power. I'm so sorry, but this is not the kingdom. Come this way. Come with me to have dinner. Let me show you. And I'm, to do the opposite, right? Let me sit with me. What I can do for you. And I remember I opened a link a nonprofit organization. I don't have money to fix her car. I live day by day too, right? I pray to God. I pray over her life like, Salima, God is so real. He's going to do it. So I put all her information in a nonprofit here in Costa Mesa that they help the needy. But you need to have kids, and the kids, they need to belong to Costa Mesa and go to the schools here. Took 2 weeks, and they reply and they fix her car.
That's so great.
Like, so many beautiful miracles in my life, but not just for me, for the people who I am around. So our society, they're so superficial. Come on, we need to be more empathetic.
Yes.
More empathetic. Like, oh my goodness, this is your need. I know it's a lot of need everywhere, but maybe we can cover. Let me see how I can help you and look for other places, like, I don't know. It's crazy.
I love what you said about needing to be more empathetic. Because, without giving anything away, one of the lines in the film is, there's a beautiful thing that suffering does. It teaches you empathy. Because when you've been there, you're seeing the eyes of this person and realizing it's your eyes too. It's like, I was there, I was there. I know how that feels, and I'm gonna do everything I can. And I really do take the challenge of, we can talk about peace and we can try to create environments around ourselves that feel peaceful, but until we really bring that out and say, no, actually, I'm going to cultivate this peace because I'm a peacemaker, and I need as much of this as I can so I can give it to the world. That's a beautiful challenge. It's a beautiful statement. And yeah, I really agree with you, man. I think empathy is where it's at. And you can see the people that are forgetting it because we get so lost in these big systems, like you said, money, power, politics, the news rage cycle, you get lost in all that. And I think for a lot of people, it's hard to come back to center. It's hard to find that peace when you start saying yes to those kinds of systems. So thank you for the challenge. But I think you also lose your sense of empathy because you get that moral superiority or us versus them, and we're right, everybody else is wrong. And that is actually that's poison that you drink. It's like anti-empathy poison as opposed to opening. It's like, no, we're all in this together, and like, how can I bring more peace on the planet? Even with someone that maybe doesn't, like you guys said, maybe someone that I don't really love their politics, or, I see some like hateful elements or places that, they really need to work on. But again, if I can move through those judgments and just get down to that peace and empathy, I think that's where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good, man. There's so much we could say. It's there's just a huge story, but we're so blessed. Even when I was reading here where it says, when there's nothing to bring. No, what I always say when I'm held to the flame. No, right at the beginning. Sometimes you lose some. Right now I'm losing bad. My hope is in you alone. No, that part of like a little faith is all I have right now. Yeah, there's those moments in life where I felt the failure, like wow, God, like to me, like I had been saying it in the last, especially last year. I think this year I'm stepping into like the victory of God because of the doors He's opened. I'm like, oh wow, clearly God has been with me when I only saw the footsteps that I thought were mine. It was really His footsteps, right? Mm-hmm. So in these last 21 years in America, like God, the word God gave me last year was like, look back and see how far you've come. And this happened in Mount Whitney where I was hiking with my boys, and God healed my knee, and I was like on this snow chute trying to get to the summit. And then me and my youngest boy got stuck. We were just like slower and we got stuck, and my kid was like really scared. And then I looked at him. I'm like, wow, maybe I'm putting him in danger. Then like a week later, like people have died on this like snow chute. So I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just wanted to conquer something and feel like I achieved something in 20 years in America, right? And this is like the highest peak on the continental US. I'm like, okay, that's where I gotta be. That's where I gotta go. I gotta summit this thing. And then my little boy, he looks at the view, and this is like 5 a.m. We started a hike at like 1 a.m. and maybe like 8 a.m. We started the hike at 1 a.m. And then he looks at the sun rising, the snow around him, and he's like, Dad, sometimes what makes me want to keep going is not so much to think about the destination, but to look back and see how far we've come, right? To look at the journey we've experienced. And I'm like, wow, that sounds really epic. I didn't know we weren't going to summit because in my mind, I was like, we got to summit this thing. But later on, we met with the rest of the group, and they're like, Beto, they had already come back from the summit. Like, Beto, this is really hard. I think we should turn around. So when we turned around, my son, Dorian, he started crying. And he's like, Dad, I'm so sorry. It was my fault. I made you slow down. I know how much it meant to you to like go to the summit. And I told him, Dorian, this was the best day of my life. Like, I was on that snowshoe and God stopped us because He wanted me to spend time with you. God healed my knee. I was in pain for like the last 3 months before that hike. And on the snow chute, I just felt a click where God healed my knee. Like the pain went away instantly. I was like, God, like you did a miracle right here. But the miracle was so that I could be with my son and finish like this little snow like chute. And then when I hugged him, it was like God brought the words back to me that he had said before, like couple hours before, like, it's not about the destination. It's about looking back and seeing how far you've come. So I was like, it just gave so much purpose to like the last 20 years in America. I'm like, wow, God, like we wouldn't be here without those like 20 super hard years.
Thank you for these stories. They're so beautiful. I love what your son Dorian said too. I've never heard it spoken that way. And I'm like you, like I try to learn from everybody, man. Like, you know, there's profound truth trying to reach you from lots of different ways, you know, but when he said it's not looking forward and dreaming about the destination, it's looking back and seeing how far you've come. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful idea. And yeah, it's beautiful to be with two people that are like-minded in that, you know, we need more empathy here, and we need more people who are willing to, move forward in a way that I think generates more hope and lets people know that they're seen and they're not alone. And that's really what I tried to do in this movie. I think, you know, those moments where we feel really separated from each other, separated from God, separated from ourselves, that's when you really are really hurting. And if there could be some sort of shift back to this feeling that, you know, again, the Footprints poem, that you're never really alone. Even at the moments where you felt like you were the most alone, you weren't, you know. So yeah, that's really what I'm trying to do with the movie. And I really hope it resonates with people from all walks of life and really create some cool conversations, because I like what you said too, man. And I totally agree with you. There's these big grandiose things that we're able to do with entertainment and, you know, millions of people or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the one-on-one. And I've actually had really amazing conversations with this, but I mean, I'm trying to get back to even just more intentional, more one-on-one time with my children and my friends and people that I love and people that actually are asking for time and presence with me, because actually that's where I think most of the change, the real change will happen. You know, like in the quiet places, the quiet of my own heart, the quiet little conversation is just me and a friend with some coffee and like, but it was really cool though. I was talking to a friend and I said, I really do think it's the one-on-one. And she said, yes, but when you do these larger conversations with movies and podcasts and stuff like that, you're actually encouraging the smaller conversations to come. And that really moved my heart, because I was trying to make it one or the other. It's like, well, should I spend more time doing more one-on-one and not do movies? You know, I was kind of having that struggle. And the truth of the matter is it's just like what you said, they all have their place and they all are doing an interesting work out there. And so, you know, her idea was, her and her family and her parents, and they all have different views of things, but they all went out and watched I Can Only Imagine. They came back to dinner and they just talked about the movie the whole night, and it broke into these beautiful, like, relational conversations. And so, like I said, I think that's one thing I think entertainment can do, and podcasts and you know, short stories and art and all that stuff. It can open the heart, and it can lead to probably the more important conversations other than, you know, watching a movie is great. You know, I love movies, of course. I love movies, but maybe the conversations afterwards are really what we're trying to get after, you know.
That's so good. Yeah, this morning I was saying, remember the Da Vinci, like God's finger reaching out to man, kind of like this? Yeah. I was thinking about that idea and thinking, wow, I think God is wanting to do a divine synapses with our brain, where, you know, our brain, the more our neurons connect, the more our intellect grows. But when Jesus was talking to Nicodemus in John 3:16, he says, you must be born again in the spirit, right? The water and the spirit. And I feel like that spiritual connection, because I was thinking like, why does the Holy Spirit touch people at different times? Why don't just like everybody just boom, like, oh, Jesus makes sense. He's real. He's the way. Let's follow him. Because people got to do that divine synapses, right? That like connection where somehow your neuron connects to God's spirit. And once they connect, then he can start working in your life, and the kingdom of God starts moving in. I was like, wow. So anyways, I think stuff like this inspires people to hopefully move their spiritual neurons to reach out to God's divine neuron, right?
Man, that's good. That's crazy. I love it. I love that stuff. That's crazy.
All right. Well, Brent, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. This is amazing. So point people to resources, the movie, where's this going to be at, where they can watch it, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. When does this come out?
This right away. We'll have it ready next week. Actually, I kind of wanted to know if we can post it before, because it releases on the 20th. I don't think we're spoiling anything, but
no,
right?
No, we're not. The movie comes out nationwide February 20th, Friday. We always ask people to go see the movies in theaters because it really gets the studio's attention and it allows us more opportunities to keep making these films. Theatrical, going to see these movies at the cinema is important, and it's kind of the lifeblood of our business. And it's because the theaters are so big and a bunch of people see it at the same time, and they pay money, then you can continue to make more high quality films with that, as opposed to stuff that just has to go to streaming. So yeah, it's out nationwide February 20th. Go see it. If you loved it, tell all your friends about it, put it on Instagram, put it on Facebook. But if you live anywhere remotely near some sort of metropolitan area, it's going to be in your movie theater. I think it's in almost 3,000 screens in the US, and that's a lot. So there'll be a place to go catch it near you, most likely. And yeah, just if you love it, tell your friends about it, put it on your social media, and help us keep spreading the word. We're just trying to put some hope and positivity and get people talking about their faith and gratitude and empathy and but at the same time, it's a very entertaining movie. I think it'll really move you. It's my stuff, I always wanted to have a lot of heart, so it's a very heart-opening experience, and I think we need that right now. So just for the sheer movie of it, it'll be fun and great. But it also, I think, invites people into some really cool conversations and questions that maybe we need to all be asking ourselves right now.
Love it. Well, there you have it, my friends. Thank you so much for being here with us, for watching. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, share this episode. Visit us at christianpodcast.com. Give us maybe a positive, encouraging comment. So we'll see you guys on the next one.
And what a great idea. Beto, just really quick. We can go as a family, and after that, go and take a dinner, and can be a teachable moment for all of us, right?
There you go.
And look where we at and where we're going to be. For example, with the movie, I have a lot of triggers that reminds me to my past, but where I am right now and where I'm going, it's so much hope. So yeah,
there you go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I love it. I'll give you my one quick relationship advice. Everybody always says dinner and a movie, like for your date. You need to flip it. It's you need to go to the movie and then dinner, so you always have something good to talk about. So it's not dinner and a movie, it's movie and a dinner, and then it'll be a lot better, I promise.